One of the newest additions to the North American League, and in particular the US division, is none other than Kanzen. He joins us from Las Vegas, Nevada, as a kind of a superstar for this team. You've played a couple matches now, and your stats have been pretty darn good. What's it like acclimating to the highest level of competition in Rainbow Six?
Well, it's just like any other team. You get on and you scrim. The only difference really is that you're living with them now.
How is it being in a team house? Because not only are you adjusting to the top level of play, but you're also, like you said, living with them. What's that like day to day, seeing your teammates all the time?
It's actually really cool, being able to hang out with them and just talk. It's definitely a little bit different than how it normally would be not living in a team house, but they made it very good to get acclimated, and it's been good so far.
Would you say that there's any noticeable downsides to being in a team house versus your old setup? Is it less comfortable? Is it a new change that requires you to settle in since you're in a new place, a new location?
I wouldn't say there's really any downsides. The only downside maybe is that you're not near your family at all.
When it comes to E United, the team has got a lot of controversy and people talking about them, but not necessarily for the right reasons. In the very first portion of stage one, in phase one, the team didn't perform, I think, to the standards that it had set for itself. Did you feel any pressure when you and Rexon joined the team to immediately try to fix not just the reputation of E United, but also the performance?
I wouldn't say there was much pressure, but there was definitely a little to try and not get relegated. So I've never had a professional team before, so they can mold me into what they needed for the team to not get relegated.
So they picked you up for your potential, but obviously they saw some things out of you that they liked previously. How has that adjustment been, going from playing at an amateur level to immediately jumping into the big leagues?
It's been really different because in my T3 teams, I've always played a different role than what I do now. It's been a little bit strange to getting used to those roles, but I think I've done a pretty good job so far, and just got to keep improving in the future.
Well, your last match you popped off, and I think you performed well above what a lot of people thought for somebody who was only playing in their second match at a tier 1 level. What is the biggest change that you've noticed in your opponents going from a tier 3 to a tier 1 level? And I know most people are probably going to say aim to a certain extent. I don't know if you would agree with that, but what to you stands out the most?
I would say the chances that you have to clutch. In a lot of T3 teams, you can clutch against them so easily. They just make stupid plays and they're not in the right positions. At a T1 level, it's so hard to win a clutch. Even just like a 1v2, it's very hard.
When you came in from a tier 3 perspective, which is what you had, did you find yourself having an urge to make those stupid plays? Did you feel like your teammates had to rein you in to prevent you from going off and making hero plays that we see at the amateur level?
Not necessarily, because in the amateur level, I never really did those stupid plays, even though I was more of like a fragging role. I was more passive, I'd say.
So what's your biggest point of pride so far in the 2 matches you've played? You talked about how you've swapped up roles now, but it doesn't sound like they've radically altered your play style. When you look back on those 2 matches, and you've played quite well in both of them, what's the one thing that you're happiest with in regards to your own performance?
Obviously, I'm happy beating Sonics 2-0. That was a very big win for us. SSG game, I feel like we could have won. The mistakes that we made is the reason we lost, to be honest.
So how do you correct those for the future? Because your team is in a bit of a transition, right? We've talked a lot on the broadcasts about how E United has used to play their own style. You now look like you're playing much closer to the meta. How do you prevent those mistakes from happening in the future to ensure that if there is a rematch with Space Station, you end up prevailing?
I mean, we just gotta rewatch the VODs that we have, and then see what we did, and then take it step by step to make sure we don't do those again.
The coaching staff that you have has continued to grow. And Meepy obviously is the big voice now for this team. What does he provide to E United that you think another coach wouldn't be able to do?
Him finding out what map bans, what op bans that we're gonna do and the other team's gonna do have been very helpful. Like the game against Sonics, the bans that he provided honestly won us the game.
I don't know if you remember this, but I'm old enough to remember when Meepy came out and said, I have never lost a map ban phase once. And I don't know if you think that that would apply here, but your smile seems to indicate that you would agree with that.
Yeah.
So with the team in the transitional period that you're in, how much do you rely on experience from veterans of the scene like Alfama, Yeti, Meepy, etc.?
They do give some good points on how to improve, but I wouldn't say it's like they tell me exactly what to do, because I feel like they trust me to make the right decisions in the game.
How well do you synergize with the rest of the team? Because I don't know your full backstory, but I don't think you have a ton of experience with these players previously. So was it tough for you to come in and immediately click with the team?
I don't think so. I mean, they made it pretty easy to chill and just vibe with the team. I did stream Yeti a lot back in T3 when he was in on DG and Challenger League, so I always had some familiarity with him.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you make a prediction for E United for the remainder of this stage? Because you beat the Sonics 2-0, you came pretty close to defeating SSG. What do you think your ceiling is for this stage right now?
Beat DZ, we make top 4, and then if we make top 4, I think we're guaranteed to make the major.
You think that it's possible to knock off the defending major champions?
For sure.
Well, I like that confidence. Anything that you're looking for yourself, by the way, over the next little while, because obviously you've been playing for a long period of time, but not at a tier 1 level. I already asked you what you are most proud of. But if I could ask you, what's the one thing that you want to work on the most? What would you say that is?
I need to work on, like, not getting mad when I die sometimes because people make rat plays.
I think that's advice that applies for every person who plays Rainbow Six right now. So I don't think you're alone with that one there. But congratulations on the 2 matches. You've played well. It's always nice to see new faces come into Rainbow Six. Anything to say before we end the interview?
No, just thank you to everyone who supports me and the team. Shout out to all the haters. It just gives me fuel to keep going. And I'll see you on Monday on our match.
Well, best of luck on Monday. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. It's much appreciated.